Hello, this is Sonia from Sonyas Quilts and Embroidery, and I had a request from someone to make a bingo bag. This is one of the specialty bags that I have been talking about that I was going to do that's made for a specific hobby or project. You can take this and go with it and take it to whatever project that you do, whether it be scrapbooking or if you're an artist, whatever hobby that you're into, is knitting, cross stitching, just whatever that you are into, and you would like to have a bag to take your stuff with you when you go and have everything together and easy to find everything and organize your items. First of all, I have done some prep work ahead of time. I have used my Easter basket pattern to do this bingo bag. That basket pattern is very, very versatile. You can do many things with it. You can leave the handles off, and you can make a basket for your changing table. You can make a use it to put in your bathroom and put your makeup in, or you can make them that will be, fit in with the decor of any room in your house, to just put some items in that you want to keep together, and they're very decorative, and you can just you can embellish them in any way that you want to embellish them. For those of you who are not familiar with my Easter basket pattern, I do have a video on the Easter baskets that you can go to and look, and I show you how exactly I cut that pattern and the dimensions and everything. But I'll also show you now exactly how I do that. Let's see. Well, I can just show you with one of the panels. I did embellish my, I did embroidery bingo on there. I don't know if you can see it. It's not very dark. I wished I would rather have went with like a hot pink or a darker purple, but I did it in the lavender, just to show you, what it would look like. If you embellish it, you can put your a monogram on it, whatever, but you have a very small area to work with on the top of this bag. So, and I'll explain more about that later, but the lavender thread was already on my machine, and I do have some more things I have to embroider, so I didn't want to change my thread. I guess that's laziness on my part, but anyway, I use the So What Pro program to do all my editing. I have a 6 needle Brother PR 655 that I do my embroidery on. I do have a couple of single needle embroidery machines, but I rarely use those. After using a 6 needle, I'm pretty spoiled to that. So I do need another 6 needle, but at this point in time, I am not able to get another 6 needle. Hopefully before the end of the year I'll have 2 machines, but right now I only have the one, and I absolutely love it. And it's I need to take it in for it to be serviced and cleaned, but I just can't let go of it right now. So anyway, the pattern is the width of it. Cut a block. I used a stabilizer for embroidery to cut my pattern. You can use anything. You can use paper. You can use just anything you want to, but it has the width of this bag is about 12.5 inches. The total height of this, you would need to cut your rectangle 12.5 inches by 11 inches, and then you can cut your 3-inch blocks. These are 3-inch squares out of the bottom, and that's the pattern that we're using. Like I said, I use this for the Easter basket, and I've also used it to make some bags to organize some of my applique fabrics in. My applique fabrics are a constant battle to keep organized, and so I try to organize those, but it's very, very hard because it's small pieces of fabric, and it's just fabric that you can't really fold, and some people pieces are bigger, so I try to organize it, and I have made several of these baskets for the embroidery and applique part of my shop. Okay, so we have 2 of these, and then I have cut these 2. I actually cut them the same as the outside of the bag, the 12.5 by 11, but I cut 5 inches off the top and made this short squatty and made 2 of these. I have already turned down just a tiny little hem. This is not an exact science. Just try to keep the hem on both sides the same. And I turned it under and turned it under again, so no raw edges. And we are going to top stitch these first. And like I've said in videos before, the best thing to do for a top stitch is to make your stitches as long as you can, so that you can the longer stitches for top stitching does look a lot nicer and a lot more professional and finished to do a long stitch for the top stitch. Okay, let's just chain these right quick. And there we go. I do use it's a Dirkhoff Adler. It's 281. It's a commercial straight needle. This machine only does straight stitch and reverse. Does nothing else. No decorative stitches, no zigzag, nothing. It's strictly, and I use this for making heavyweight items and lightweight items. I absolutely love this machine. I used to use a Brother machine, just a home type sewing machine for my work, and I had to replace them about 5 times a year. I would just throw them in the garbage and go buy another one, because I'm not going to take a machine that I have just ran 100 quilts on in a matter of a couple of months and then take it back and exchange it for another one. And especially when I used so many a year, they would start raising an eyebrow. So I just went and bought I went to the place that sells these locally to me, have warehouses full of commercial machines that do anything that you could possibly want to do. And I actually know the people, known them for years and years and years. And I took some lightweight fabric to their workshop where they service these machines and get them ready to resell. And it did a wonderful job on the lightweight fabrics. So I chose this one, and I absolutely love it. It's very low maintenance. I just keep it brushed out around the bobbin casing, and then it's got an oil reservoir in the bottom that it oils itself, and then you just make sure that your oil has not gotten too low. And when it does, it's got a little nipple on the reservoir, and you just stick your little oil nozzle in that and fill it. It holds probably 1/4 cup of oil, and I check it about every 3 months to make sure it's not running low. Like a car, you don't want it to run low of oil. Okay, then I've got my handles here. They're cut at 4 inches by 11 inches, and I have ironed on some of the Palon fusible fleece on the inside of these handles to give them a little more substance to them, and give them a little more where they'll stand up good. I've folded them in half and ironed them, and then folded them in half again, and then they're ready to go. So we're going to top stitch these while I have the big stitch on the machine. Get these top stitched. And you sew these really close to the edge here, just to catch that where I have folded those under. And get the second one. Like I said, 4 by 11 on these handles. You can adjust that to your preference. You can make them longer or shorter. I used to like to go and play bingo. When my grandmother was alive, she lived to be almost 92, and she was healthy up until a year before she passed away. And she liked to go play bingo, and I liked to do anything that I could do with my grandmother. And we would go about 3 or 4 times a year and go and play bingo. And it was we always had a lot of fun. She was a character, and I enjoyed spending time with her. Miss her. She's been gone 13 years, and I miss her every day. Matter of fact, we bought her house, and so I miss her every day. I can go in the house and I can still smell her soups on the stove, and we'd always go in and say, go in there, there's some chicken soup on the stove, fix you something to eat. And I can still smell the onions cooking as I walk in the door a lot of days. Okay, we have our 2 handles made, and they're padded with that fusible fleece, and nice and stand up, nice handles. Okay, now, fun part. We're going to put our bag together. We'll take the front of the bag and one of the short pieces, one of the, like I said, they're 5 inches from the bottom where you cut the square out to the top of these. You want to lay it on top of this bag and match up the squares. And this is what I'm talking about when I say you have a, why did I go blurry? I don't know what it's focusing on. Let's see. There we go. Lay the top of the first piece, it doesn't matter which one, and lay it on top of your front of your bag. And we're going to take this bag and we're going to just do a little, I've still got my stitch big, and we're just going to do on this very, very, very edge, we're going to just do a little basting stitch just to hold these 2 pieces together. Now I used to have, we called them dobbers, the markers, the little things that you would mark your spots on bingo, and I tried to find it. I'm sure it's dried up, but because I haven't been a long, probably have not been since she passed away. It was just something I did with her, and so I probably have not been. I cannot think of a time that I have been since she passed away. But anyway, we've got our edges basted here just to hold those together. And we're going to, if you've got daubers that you can measure this, you would just put your dauber in here and kind of mark how big you need to do this seam so that your dauber will fit in there nicely. But I'm just going to do a guesstimation, and it's okay for it to be too big. You don't want it to be too small. And we're just going to sew a top seam right along the top of this bag. And then if you want to add a small seam, a small pocket for like an ink pen, and then I would not go down into the bottom area of your bag because this is going to be the bottom, so just stop even with the square there. And then let's do another dauber pocket. That's what I meant to say, a pocket. Do another dauber pocket and back stitch, and let's do another dauber pocket. And we've got room here for one more dauber pocket. As you can see, I did not mark. You know, if you like to be, you know, accurate, you can sit and mark these with a pencil or whatever. Not necessary to do that, but you know, do it however how you want to do it. And then we're going to take the back of the bag and we're going to lay the other pocket on there and match up our cutout squares at the bottom. And we'll do a little basting stitch along the edge on this one. And then we'll just go across here and do all dauber bottom. Because some people, I don't understand the reason, but some people that play bingo have every color of dauber that they make. I don't know why. Me and Grandma, we only just had the ones. We had a good one. We used it till it dried up, which I don't think I played enough to ever dry one up. I would be more like to forget to take mine and have to buy another one, or get ready to go and not be able to find it. We're going to do one more dauber pocket, and then there'll be a small pocket here on the end. And let's just base this end down. Okay, now we have our back and our front with all of our little pockets. And here's our pen pocket. I'll put this Sharpie in here and show you the little pen pocket. Of course, it wouldn't go down that far, but there's just, I wish, like I said, I wished I thought about it. I would have went and bought a couple of daubers just to show you, but maybe I can stick, when I get this put together, I'll stick some things in it just to show you what it looks like once you get. And then we'll put the right sides together, match up all of our bottom cutout squares, and we'll sew the bottom together. And do our side, this seam a little smaller. And we'll do our side seams. And do this side seam. This fabric that I'm using, I don't think it's a duck or canvas. It's just a heavier weight fabric that would be like you would make pillows out of, or I guess you could make heavy curtains out of it. It's not as stiff as the duck and the canvas, but it is a nice weight fabric. But if you found a pretty piece of just a lightweight cotton that you want to use, you could iron some interfacing on the back side of it and give it a little more body, a little more stiffness to it if you wanted to use that. And then we're sewing up the gussets by matching up our side seam and our bottom seam, and just going to sew those just like that. Back stitch, because this is the bottom of the bag. And then this is the time we need to go and check and make sure that we caught the side seams very well. And there's no, if you can see here, my back pocket and my front pocket are off just a little bit. Doesn't matter. Absolutely does not matter. Now, if you were going to make this for doing to tote your sketch pad or your excuse me, to tote your sketch pad for art or anything like that, you would make your pockets smaller for your paintbrushes or your pencils, your drawing pencils, or whatever. If you had your if you did watercolors, or you had anything like in a case, you would make it bigger. You can also make this bag taller, make your pockets deeper, make your pockets longer, and just customize it to whatever it is that you like to do. Now, I don't remember, I was doing a video the other day to finish up that tote bag that I started, and that had the folded up corners on it, and I got almost done with the video, and my camera said that I was out of storage. So I was very frustrated, but I did finish the bag because I was almost done with it when it cut off. But I did finish it with the little side turn. I did instead of cutting the squares out of the bottom of the bag, I just measured 3 inches over and folded those up just to add a decorative touch to this bag. And this is a nice bag, good bag for library books, or just to take out. I've got stuff in there to hold it, to show it looks like when it's filled out. But to take with you, like for a trip that you're gonna be gone all day, stuff that you don't want to put in your purse, like water or a snack or whatever. But it holds a lot of stuff. It'd be a good bag for your kids. It holds some diapers and whatever you need to drop them off at daycare. It's just a small little bag. And this is the same fabric that I'm working with today. It's got a lot more body to it, but it's not duck or canvas. It's just got a lot more body to it. And I lined it with a pretty pink. Okay, so I showed in another video other things. Well, there it is. Other things you can use to measure The most important thing with the handles is to get them even on the front and the back. But you don't have to measure. I mean, you don't have to use, I mean, I have a tape measure on my, a ruler on my sewing machine that I can use. But you can also use anything that you have laying around. Like these snips. You can use these snips and measure over using those. So I just, want to go to the blue part or whatever. I'm going to use my machine table. This bag has finished up at 12 inches. And I'm going to put my handles at 3 inches and 9 inches. So I'll just lay on there. Like I said, this is not an exact science. You might be a little more technical with your measurements than I am. But just get them as accurate as you can. And I'm just going to barely catch these for now, just to hold them in place instead of using pins. And then we will take the other side, measure over 3 inches, make sure your handle does not get twisted. Measure over 3 more inches, and I've centered it on the 3-inch mark. The 3-inch mark is actually right in the center of this bag. And then once again, we're just gonna barely catch it to keep. I don't use pins much to get in the way, and I've accidentally run over them before, which wasn't too bad. If you hit them just right, you can break a needle, and that just kills my soul to hear a needle get broke. Almost sounds like a bone breaking. That's an unpleasant sound. All right, and now we'll just use what we've already got done to measure where our handles go, so that they will be accurate. Turn this one over. Measure this handle. Okay, got our handles on there, and I'm just going to use the same exact fabric to line this bag. This is actually cut on the fold, but to keep it accurate, I'm going to sew the bottom anyway. You always, whatever you use for your lining, whether it be a contrasting fabric or if it is the same fabric, you always have to cut the lining, have to make the lining exactly like you make the outside of the bag. Matching up the bottom seams with the side seams. I do about a 1/4 inch, about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. The most important thing with sewing is not exact, unless you're making a garment and you're using a pattern, but if you're doing this kind of sewing, the size of your seam is not that important. The most important thing is to be consistent. I'll make all of the seams the same. Okay, I have left an opening in this lining. Go back. Left an opening in the lining about 3 inches on the side seam. So we have this little lining, this little hole in the side seam of the lining part. Then we'll take the lining, open it up, leave it wrong side out, and we're just going to sit our bag down inside. Match up the side seams, and the best way to tell if it's going to fit perfectly is to match up the side seams and give it a tug. And if you see that there's some slack in either the lining or the top of the bag, just take up some of the side seam until it fits. So you can put your side seams together and it fits. nice and perfect the way you, because you're going to have a pleat in the lining or the outside of the bag if they're not exactly the same. If the side seams don't match up and there's no slack, then you're going to have a pleat in your bag. These side seams match up great, which when you use the same kinds of fabrics, the same, if you use a different fabric for the lining, it may have a little more give to it. So, but these fabrics are both the same, so they matched up perfect. I don't know if there are any more videos out there. I haven't looked it up to see if there are more videos out there for bingo bags or not. But, and there may be better videos out there than mine. But this is, I've got blurry again. Here we go. Just turn our bag right side out through that place we left open in the lining. And check our handles. Make sure they're caught good. This is best to do this now so that you do not have to take anything apart to fix them. I've learned that lesson the hard way 400 or 500 times. And there we go. We have our bingo bag ready to go. It's already yelling bingo for you on the side. Now we're going to take this and we're going to take the lining out and we're going to fold that hole in where we left open. I'm going to fold that under. Just pull it tight and hold it and turn it under like this. Hope you can see that. Anytime on one of my videos that you have a question about anything, feel free to ask me, and then on my next video I will take care of that question before I start the project. We have that sewn up. We have a few strings here and there. Clean all that up, and then we'll turn the bag outside. And if you want to, you could press this bag now before we do this top stitch along the edge. And I'm not going to iron this. I'm just going to use my fingers and a little bit of licking of the fingers to make sure this is opened up nicely. You could even make this for someone who likes to play bingo and give it to them as a gift. Maybe buy them some of the little daubers. You buy I noticed one day at my dollar store, the Dollar General, you can buy the little daubers. They're actually used also for like writing on car windows, like when you have a car for sale, or a lot of teenagers write things on their car windows, especially around homecomings and things like that. So there's room inside this bag now for your tape. People, I observe people, and I observe that they bring like Scotch tape to tape their bingo sheets down to the table. They carry their Lucky Charms in here. They have all sorts of Lucky Charms they bring with them, little dolls, and one woman had a whole lot of cigarette lighters that she lined up, and just whatever makes your boat float, I guess. But this has got room to put everything you need that's in your purse, and we've got a room here for our pen. And I wish I had something to put in these big pockets for your daubers, but these are plenty big enough for all your daubers You can stick your chapstick in one of them. Some of them might have a little pair of scissors that they take in for whatever reason. You've got room to put a little snack in here, a drink inside. You've got room to carry everything that you need for a night of bingo. This one is very fancy, very, very fancy colors, and it's a ladies bingo bag. And so there you go. One bingo bag done, just like I promised. So thank y'all so much. If you have any questions on how I made this, please comment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up and hit that little bell so that every time I post a video, you will be notified of that. And any questions you may have about this bag, please ask me in the comments, and I will address that at the very beginning of the next video. So thank you all so much, and have a great, great day.